arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defined, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. At every bar, even though my bar has been the hardest. The scars on my face said I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve, even if the beat stops my soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fabulous Tuesday of Sports Nonsense and Whiskey. Hanging with my boy Pinky. We're one short tonight. He's got family obligations, so give Robert a break. Pinky, how we doing this evening, good sir?
I am good. I am drinking whiskey, ladies and gentlemen. I got Crown Royal chocolate whiskey, and then I put some bourbon cream in, because 'tis the season. So.
Okay. All right. Nice. Not too shabby.
Ooh, buddy.
How you doing, my guy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I got my Austin 316 shirt on. I'm ready to rock and roll. I feel like we might get in a fight tonight.
Ooh, good. All right. Excellent. We're going there early. Excellent.
You know, this is the type of show that Andy likes to listen to. And, that's who we do this for. Andy's our number one listener, and he loves it when we fight. So we have to give the people what they want.
Poke the bear with some facts and see what happens, I guess.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. All right. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing well, sir. Doing well. There's a lot going on right now in the sports world, the nonsense world. I got to join you guys out on the town for an evening. Me and the wife did a date night, and she threw out a little Friday night SmackDown action up in Denver, and so we checked that out with you guys. A lot of fun. You got an insane amount of football going on right now this time of year, with a lot of things being decided in college this next weekend, and then obviously the NFL kind of winding into that last quarter of the season. Basketball is full blow go right now. F1 is insane. There's a lot. So we'll try to cover as much as we possibly can this evening. It sounds like we're going to be way off topic multiple times as the bear gets poked. So, just stick with us and enjoy whatever comes. As far as nonsense, I don't really know what we have tonight, but I'm sure we'll talk something and we'll go from there. So, Pinky, without further ado, please, good sir, lead us in.
Caleb, who is the best player in the league today? Right now.
So I'm going to assume you're talking NFL, just to make sure that people are on topic with us here. Because there's a lot of names I could throw out there if you don't specify, you know what I mean? So just be on point. Look, the best player in the league right now, and I don't think this should even be a question if you're having this debate within the barbershop, Myles Garrett is the best player in football, period.
He's the best defensive player.
Oh. Dude, he's right now, what's happening to him this year, and this is not the first year it's happened, but for sure this year right now, as it's going down, this man is getting the Calvin Johnson treatment on defense +1. He's double and triple teamed on every play. And he's still got 18 sacks in 11 games. The Browns, as far as I'm concerned, wouldn't even have a win right now if Myles Garrett wasn't on their team still.
Right.
They would be 0-for. So the 3 wins they do have, I'm attributing straight to Myles Garrett. This to me, the closest thing I can think of that is within recent memory is in Ndamukong Suh's year in college where he should have won the Heisman. Where he is obviously the best player. He is manhandling and dominating anyone that's put in front of him. And then you'll get to the end of the year and there'll be some excuse as to why said player should not get the award.
I might be wrong on the year, but I would throw J.J. Watt's 2014.
That's a solid. I like that. That's a really solid one. What did he have? Like 20 sacks that year? 20 and a half or something? He almost had the record, or he did set the record, tied the record?
I think he just fell short of it.
I'll pull it up real quick, but that's a solid comparison. He should have won the MVP that year.
He had 2 defensive touchdowns and 3 offensive touchdowns that year. Houston did make the playoffs. He was second in the MVP voting. He lost out to Aaron Rodgers that season, I believe. I'm pretty confident he lost to Aaron Rodgers. And I was like, I'm sorry. He did things that like nobody's done. I think Garrett has definitely, he's in that conversation. I would say
it was 2014, so good call, Pinky. And it was Aaron Rodgers he lost out to. 20 and a half. It was 20 and a half sacks.
Man, look at that. Big brain. Big brain.
Myles Garrett's going to blow the sack record out of the water, right?
Yeah, for sure. He's gonna bring that. Derpy. No, if you like alcohol, that's fine. It doesn't make you an alcoholic. An alcoholic is just someone like they have to have it all the time, every day.
Also, to be clear, if you drink and it's only during the time you watch us, yeah, you could classify it as alcoholic. But I mean, there's worse things than enjoying an hour and a half with some guys and a tasty beverage.
I like drinking, guys. I know my wife gives me crap about it, and I'm gonna have to tone it down. I'm not gonna stop, but I gotta tone it down.
Okay.
I just like drinking. What can I say? Back to Myles Garrett. I feel like he's gonna go for 25. I feel like he's going to go for 25. Let me give me a sec while you talk poetic about Myles Garrett. Let me look at Cleveland's remaining schedule.
Look, the fact, and I say this anytime there's talent that gets wasted. Pinky can back me up on this. I am very much pro player over pro team in a lot of situations, and this is one of them. When you have an all-time great talent, and you waste it the way the Browns have for the last, year 8 for Myles Garrett?
Yeah.
There should be consequences. You shouldn't be allowed to get the first pick in the draft.
They've given him a lot of money and they still suck. There is consequences.
Okay, I guess I don't see that as a consequence. You should be paying him and have a team around him that competes for a championship every year. There's no excuse for being that inept. There just isn't. And I'm not going to go down that hole because that's not what we wanted to discuss tonight. But Myles Garrett is, I don't know how you say he's not the best player in the league, offensive or defensively.
I mean, at least
whether
right
he
now,
wins MVP, different conversation. Okay? We can have that as a separate conversation. But who would you say is better than him? Especially this year at what their skill is.
I mean, defensively, there's nobody better than him right now. There's nobody better than him.
Even on offense, though.
I mean, I still think Josh Allen's Superman, in my opinion.
Really good.
I think he's on a bad team with a bad coach. And I would say Josh Allen's on the Myles Garrett level. In my opinion.
I'm not going to poo-poo that because he's really, really good. I mean, you're not wrong, Derpy. You're absolutely not wrong. But, and I guess I should clarify this too. I don't have any sympathy for Myles Garrett. Just like I don't have any sympathy for Mike Trout. You chose to stay in those horrid situations and take money and stay. Whether it's loyalty or the dollars or you want to do something nobody else did and bring a championship there, I don't care what the excuse is or what the reasoning is or anything else. I don't have any sympathy for him. I do have sympathy for the fan bases that those are their teams, and any good fan isn't just going to rip the Band-Aid off and pick a new team because their team's bad. You suffer. And sometimes, unfortunately, you pick a fan base to be a part of where you suffer so much it becomes part of your personality.
My son,
there are fan bases in that situation.
My son just suffers. Just suffers. And that's okay. He knows what's up. He definitely knows what's up. Myles Garrett,
So, like this. The way he's playing at his position, is there another player in the league right now playing on that same level? I have a name that I think is close, but even that I don't think is on the same level right now.
I don't know, man. Tell me. You're probably right on Myles Garrett. He's probably
Stafford's playing on a pretty insane level, right? What is he at? 27 touchdowns to 0 interceptions right now in the last 9 games.
I've got Stafford as MVP right now.
Well, quarterbacks are going to get that, and I have a hard time arguing against that because of how much they touch the ball. We've gone over that. It is the nature of the position and the sport, unfortunately, whether you want to argue against that or not. Do I think Myles Garrett has a very legit and solid argument to be an MVP this year, even with the Browns being as terrible as they are? I really do. I really do. And when he sets the sack record, people are going to have to come up with excuses of why he's not the MVP this year. Regardless of how bad the Browns are, you can take Myles Garrett off the Browns, and I truly think they would have 0 wins. Because then their defense and offense would be so terrible, they would have no choice but to just allow the other team to score.
They would go over. Yeah, you're right.
You put, let's say, the backup of the Rams in, which is Jimmy G right now, and with how much talent's on that Rams team, I think you can make a legit argument that they might only have a 1 less win, maybe 2 less wins. But they're still sitting in the playoffs right now within the NFC picture, I would think. That team's really good. That defense is playing well. You've got 2 of the best wide receivers in the league. You've got a legit running back. There's just a lot of good pieces around Stafford. So when I look at it from that situation, as good as Stafford's playing, and he's probably going to be the MVP at this rate, and I'm not going to say it's not rightfully so because of how much he touches the ball and what he does as the quarterback. But what Myles Garrett is about to do this season, I am hard-pressed to think we're going to see it again anytime soon.
He's pretty dominant this year for sure.
To set the sack record, even with it one more game, I mean he's gonna pass it considerably, I would think. So the 1 extra game isn't going to be a problem.
I got him at 25.
Fair, but he's also doing it in a pass-happy era where it's even harder to sack the quarterback, in my opinion, because of the way the ball is getting out. What's the average now? It's just under 2 seconds, I think.
Yeah, if you're not throwing the ball in 2 seconds, you're holding it too long. For sure.
So, there's no such thing as a 5 or 7 drop back pass anymore. Those are unheard of. It's called scrambling, and you get lucky if you can catch the quarterback at that point. So, to me, I think it is a little bit more difficult to get sacks in this era, especially when you can barely touch the quarterback. So, it's impressive what he's doing right now. Very impressive.
Here's their remaining schedule. They play the 49ers this weekend.
That's probably 2 right there, at least.
He's going to get 1 or 2 on Brock. Then they play the Titans.
Oh, 3? That's probably another
3.
3 for a game, if not more.
Then he plays the Bears.
He's got to get Caleb Williams the way he runs around.
And then he's got the Bills.
Allen's known to give up some sacks. That offensive line is not very good. What did they give up, 8 last week?
It's not great at pass blocking. Run blocking, different story.
Right, but still, they gave up 8 last week.
Then they've got the Steelers.
Okay.
And again, is it Aaron Rodgers? Is it Mason Rudolph? And then they got the Bengals, week 18.
he should have already said it. So whatever he does against the Bengals is just the cherry on top, I would think. But you're giving him that as the last matchup to kind of just raise the bar. Watch him go for 5 or 6 sacks that game.
He legitimately, with that schedule, he could get 30.
Yeah, that's
he's at 18
not
right now.
He needs 12 more in 5 games.
6
games, sorry. 12 more in 6 games, 2 per game against that schedule. He's almost averaging 2 per game.
It's doable. I don't know. I don't know if he'll get there. I could see Josh Allen and the Bills playing a game where, run the ball, quick passes, maybe they keep him from getting one, but the other teams, I think he's getting 1, 2, 3 sacks for each one. So should be fun to watch the sack watch.
Yeah, it will be.
And you're probably right. He's the best player in the league.
By the way, just side note, if you're watching him play this next weekend, pay attention to how ginormous this man's hands look.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, his hand goes up on people and it just covers half the body. It's like, oh my Lord.
He's an athletic freak. He's a Greek god. Look,
dude, he's, what is he, like 6'5", 280, but he runs like a wide receiver.
Right. He's completely yoked and So
wasting away in Cleveland land.
And he chose that though. That's on him.
He took the money.
We talked
about that.
He said, I want to play for a winner. They said, how about 40 million? He was like, screw winning. I'm in.
But at the same token, in the NFL, unlike the other sports like NBA and MLB, the players don't have a lot of options or control. They would have just franchise tagged his ass twice. And then by then, there's a good chance he misses that window to collect the big paycheck. And, I hate the franchise tag with a burning passion.
Well, we've talked about it. The players, the next time the collective bargaining agreement comes up, the players have to do a better job of staying together and be willing to stand up for themselves to get rid of the franchise tag.
There's a couple things they should be changing, but we'll let that sit for now.
So we got Myles Garrett as the best player in the league. You mentioned Matt Stafford as the MVP. I think you're right on that count as well. He should make MVP. Myles Garrett's getting Defensive Player of the Year, and he should get some MVP votes.
He better.
Is there another player right now outside of those two? And I've got one in my mind that I'm going, whoa, that guy is killing it.
Up until last weekend, I think you would have had Jonathan Taylor on that list. I think he cooled off a lot against Kansas City, so I wouldn't have him up there. The other name that comes to mind would be JSN up in Seattle.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
buddy. He's already set the Seattle season record, all-time season record, and he's still got 6 more games to go.
1 catch behind the league leader in receptions. Do you know who that is?
The league leader? I do not know who that is.
He has 80. The league leader is at 81.
I don't even have a guess.
It's a running back.
Ooh. A running back has 81 catches? Do tell, Caleb. Do tell.
He's going to be converted to a slot receiver at some point in his career, and that's going to be Mr. CMC.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot. That should have came to mind.
Fair. One other interesting stat that I saw within that list. Guess who else has 80 catches this year and did not play last weekend? If you don't have Jamar Chase as the best wide receiver in the league, we probably need to reassess what you're looking at. And there's a lot of good receivers in the league, okay?
I think there's still an argument that Jefferson's on the same wavelength. He just has a really, really shitty quarterback.
There's some truth to that.
Let's have that conversation.
There's some truth to that.
Let's talk about that. Are the Vikings screwed with J.J. McCarthy?
I won't go there yet. We're talking, this was game 5, I believe, for him in his career. He didn't play at all last year because of the injury, and he had a solid preseason, I would say, by most standards, to the point where a lot of people were thinking he was going to start over Darnold last year had he not been injured. I still do trust the fact that I saw him do some things and make some throws. I was like, damn, not a lot of people can do that. There is something there. I do have to be honest with myself, though, and go, did his lack of play calling and passing in college hurt him more than I was willing to accept coming into the NFL? He's still shown some flashes, but he has shown some really terrible mistakes that you want to say you expect from a rookie, but at the same time, with the talent around him, you would like to think he would play better. But I also have to wonder, how bad is that offensive line? So I'm torn on McCarthy right now. I don't think he's bust yet. I think there's still plenty there. But, dude, Vikings might have missed their window now. Like, McCarthy could still become really good in a couple years and be your franchise quarterback. But you could have had Darnold and just paid him and kept McCarthy and gone Green Bay transition like I told you to. And you decided you didn't want to do that. So now you're in the position where you better get offensive linemen. That better be the only thing you care about in the offseason. And you better hope he makes a big jump from year 1 to year 2.
I mean, Minnesota's toast. Like, they don't even have to worry about playoffs. They're toast.
Yeah, no, this season's...
And I'm a Jordan Addison fantasy owner. He doesn't even look at the guy at all. Like, I'm praying they shut him down this week and put Carson Wentz in, because then at least Jordan Addison will get a couple looks.
Fantasy people would be happy with such a move. I mean, Hawkinson's not really getting the ball. Jefferson had only four throws to him. I mean, 6 throws, 4 catches. You know, on a normal good day, he's getting at least 8 or 9 looks minimum. So there's a lot to be desired in Minnesota right now, and it looks even worse when you watch Darnold playing the way he is out in Seattle, and even to a lesser extent the way Jones is playing for Indianapolis. Right. Because you had both those dudes in your building last year, and you chose not to keep either one. So it's a tough pill to swallow for a Vikings team that had much higher aspirations for this season.
Right. Oh, man.
Now go back to Chase real quick. Is the Bengals window finally, could we say, closed, regardless of what happens going forward now?
I mean, this season's done, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're being honest, the offense wasn't an issue. Again, it's not why they are where they are right now. They were averaging still like 30 points a game, even with Flacco playing.
They are going to have to spend, well, and they're in a tough spot because they still need to spend capital on their O-line, and they still need to they need to spend almost their whole draft on the defense, period. And I don't know.
And even that, you're asking rookies to come in and play at all pro levels.
What they need to do is they need to hire whoever's in the LA Rams draft room, who in the last 2 to 3 seasons has drafted fantastic on the defensive side of the football.
You ain't lying.
Because the Rams have not pulled and signed free agents on defense. They've drafted free agents, or they've drafted guys on defense, and they've drafted the right guys on defense. So that's the Bengals need to figure out again, and the Chiefs, and I hate giving the Chiefs credit, right? But if you look at the Chiefs over the last 4 or 5 years, they've drafted really well on defense. 4th rounders, 5th rounders, 6th rounders come in and make contributions in Spags' defense. They still have Chris Jones. They still have a 1st rounder in Karlaftis that they use. They still have Trent McDuffie, who's one of the best box corners. Like, he gets in, he'll play the run, he'll stick to you, he'll knock the ball out. He's a good all-around corner. He's not the greatest cover corner, but he's a good all-around corner. I think we could agree on that. They have like 6 rounders playing safety. Like, they've done a good job drafting on defense, guys that fit what they do. The Bengals really have to do that. They have to get somebody in that knows what they're looking for to play their scheme. I don't think Lou Anarumo is a bad defensive coordinator.
Oh, I was just going to take that a step further, because look at what Indianapolis is doing this year with him as the DC. That defense looks pretty solid.
Yeah. Now, I would also say that Indy's got more talent on defense than Cincy has.
Sure.
So I think it has more of a, like, no matter how good a DC you are, if you have literally nothing to hang your hat on, like, there's just nothing you can do.
Yep.
You can only squeeze so much talent out of a turd, I guess.
So do you think, again, their window is closed? Is Joe Burrow going to be talked about as the new Dan Marino?
I think it may be time for a change at coach.
I will fully support that, and that's my boy. You know that's my boy. But I don't think he's actually the issue per se. I think it's the GM and the owner because of who they've given him to put on the field. But at the same time, you're the dude running the ship, right?
Well, I think they need a defensive head coach who can then have an offensive, because I think there's a lot of guys out there, even young, possibly unproven guys, that could get pretty good production out of the offense that they have.
Yep.
Chase Brown, T. Higgins, Oshawa, Jamar Chase, Noah Fant has played pretty good for them at tight end this year. The O-line's not awful, but it's not good either. It's like that kind of in between. So I think if they had if they had a better defensive head coach who knows how to look for talent, find talent, fits his scheme, and can get them just middle of the pack, they would be better off.
Yes. And what they really should have done is grab somebody like Saleh and paid him and brought him in. The problem is the owners are notoriously cheap and refuse to spend money on the players, the franchise, for what it takes to really win. And then they're like, well, we paid Burrow, and we paid Chase, and we paid Higgins, and we paid Hendricks. And it's like, yeah, but you don't do the little things after that are required to continue to build. You stop there, and you say, that's enough, now go win, but your facilities are trash. Like, that's a notorious thing. Isn't the Bengals, they don't even have a practice facility?
They have one, but it's not good.
Or it's outdoor, like they don't have an indoor one or something. It's something stupid, and it just blows my mind, stuff like that. What's really wild to me, Pinky, there is no reason, zero reason that a pro facility is below the standard of a top-end college facility.
Right.
Anything a college facility offers, a pro team should be offering and then some. If you truly care about winning. It's real easy to tell the owners who don't care about winning because the first thing out of their mouths is, I paid them. They can go buy that themselves.
If you are a Bengals fan, you are praying for Mike Brown to die and for whoever takes over the team to sell and make the billions and billions of dollars that NFL teams are going for. And at that point, the new owner will have money to invest in the team and its players.
I will say, as fans, you hope the owner has an epiphany and decides he no longer wants to be an owner and just sells. Pinky's being a little cold. I understand where he's coming from. I'll try to lighten it just a little.
And again,
we don't actually wish harm on anybody, but I understand what he's trying to portray, okay? And there's Bengals aren't the only franchise, okay? So,
but the
and I know
Bengals
Browns fans wish their owner would up and leave too. At least to his credit, as much as I don't want to give him credit, at least he's gone out and tried to spend a bunch of money. He did it horribly, but at least he's tried. So,
moving off of the Bengals, who is the number one team in the league as it stands today?
I'll say the same thing I said a couple weeks ago. There is no front runner. There are a lot of really good teams that all have flaws. I know a lot of people are picking the Rams as the favorite right now. Their flaws might be lessened as of recent. A defense seems to be shoring up quite a bit. The offense seems to be clicking quite a bit. So there's less flaws there. So if you want to put them as the front runner, I don't hate that. But they haven't exactly blown anybody out. They haven't exactly.
I mean, look at their schedule.
I'm just look. Facts are facts, right? Their schedule has been tough, no doubt. Nonetheless, though, they still haven't blown anybody out. They've kind of been in a lot of really close games that could have gone either way in a couple situations. So, to me, that's more their flaw right now. Is that team, because of how young it is, doesn't have that ability to step on the neck and close a game out just yet. And to me, that's what I see as the Rams' flaw right now.
Are the Rams the best team in the NFC?
Nope, won't even say that right now. Again, if you want to say they're the front runner, I'm not going to be mad at that. I won't even necessarily argue against it. But I still think Seattle is really good and pretty damn close. I think the Eagles are still there based on that roster and the way that defense is playing. I'd be hard-pressed to think that offense can't click at some point. I will move Green Bay down a tier now. I don't think they're quite on that upper level right now because they're so inconsistent. And, dude, I know people are trying to say Jordan Love's a problem, but you go watch a lot of those games. That talent around him is not doing him any favors yet again. Those wide receivers are just not.
The O-line's not good right now.
Not looking good either. So I would move them down a little bit. The Bucs are down a little bit. Detroit, I would say, is on that upper tier. And I would say Chicago is actually right in between there, kind of. They're playing with fire right now, where they could be just a tier below, they could be on the upper tier, or they could completely bottom out. I think Chicago's the biggest wild card out of anybody in the NFC right now. So
I think I'm really interested in the Chicago Bears remaining schedule.
Pull that up. While you do that, I will say
I've got it.
That defense that GM has put so much into over the last couple of years is one of the worst defenses in the league. And the reason they're performing well right now is because they're living and dying by the sword, Pinky. What's that sword?
Turnovers, baby.
They're leading the league in turnovers, if I remember correctly.
They are.
And if that does not continue, they could see a very drastic fall off. But we've seen teams, they do that all season and win a Super Bowl that way with the defense. So, like I said, Chicago's a big wild card. What's that schedule look like to end the season? I could have pulled it up right here, but please go ahead.
They play the Eagles this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving that because I think that's a measuring stick game.
Absolutely.
They play the Packers.
Another bit of a measuring stick game.
Then they get the Browns.
Okay.
Now, that Browns defense can make anybody look bad.
Exactly.
So, again, I'm not like, ooh, chalk that win up.
Nope.
I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
And look, we didn't say anything yet, but let's be honest. if Shador can provide a spark and be able to get the ball downfield a little bit more than they've been doing, that offense won't look as stale and bad as it has. So it could cause some issues down the stretch for some people.
Then they play the Packers again.
Okay.
Then they play the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. And then they play the Lions.
End the season with the Lions. That game could actually decide division. That game could decide seeding. It could decide if one of those teams even gets into the playoffs. That could be a very interesting game.
Right now, they are the division leader at 8-3. They've got the Packers at 7-3-1, which is amazing to me because they've looked awful. And then the Lions at 7-4. So very interesting.
Very interesting.
What are your thoughts on the Patriots?
I think they're just as capable of winning it all this year as they are getting smoked in the first round of the playoffs.
So
I think that offense, as well as Drake May has played and they've produced, from my eyes, I've seen a level of inconsistency and unwillingness to really use your playmakers from Josh McDaniels that would make me very nervous as a fan. I see what Travion Henderson can do, and we're still limiting his touches. Stephon Diggs has looked legit as a number one for you, but he doesn't get the looks every game. Is that because he checks out, or are you just not calling plays to get him the ball? Hunter Henry looks as dangerous as ever as a tight end. So they've got pieces. I just, for whatever reason, I don't feel like there's a level of inconsistency that I'm uncomfortable with. And it's not even a large percentage, but there's enough there for me to not feel great about it. And then this last weekend, you lose Will Campbell. And how long he's out for could play a big role in the way that offense looks in that second-year quarterback. So I think the NFC, like I said, has that kind of upper tier of that 4 teams or so. I think the AFC is still wide open. I don't really have a tier. There's the teams that are going to be in the playoffs and then the teams that aren't. And if you're getting into the playoffs on the AFC side, I think you have a legit chance to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, the fact that Baltimore has already crawled back into first place in the AFC North is ridiculous.
They still don't look the same, though.
No, they look terrible. They look terrible right now. Henry can't run the ball at all. He looks like he fell off a cliff. I don't think it's him. I think it's the offensive line. But he still can't get going. Lamar might be missing another game. He's hurt again. That defense, I don't even know what to say. So
it's getting better. It's getting better.
Okay.
It's getting better. Now here's the Patriots' remaining schedule.
It's nice.
So they are winning. They're going to win 13 games. I'm telling you right now. They've got the Giants. They've got the Bills. They've got the Ravens. They have the Jets. They have the Dolphins. They're at 10-2 right now.
I will say they get at least 2. At a minimum, they get at least 2 of those games. And it's probably the Jets and Dolphins. The other 3, I think you could call coin flips on.
And they are on bye week this week, so.
Right. So I think the other ones you could call coin flip on. And I think, honestly, if you're a Patriots fan at the beginning of the season, you said those 3 games at the end of the season, you have a coin flip to not only win the division, but be the number 1 seed in the AFC, you would have taken that storyline all day, every day. So don't, move the goalposts now all of a sudden and be frustrated or mad if they get blown out in one of those games or they don't win the division and Buffalo comes back or something. You're in a really good position. A position, I think if we're being honest as Patriots fans, you were talking about sneaking in as a wild card if you were really optimistic.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. I think compared to, say, like the Broncos, I would say the Patriots are a better overall, well-rounded team. Their offense and defense complement each other more so than what the Broncos are showing right now. And when you can play complementary football, I think you would feel better going into a game that means more as far as making the playoffs or in the playoffs than you would going in saying our offense is struggling, but our defense is lights out. So I think the Patriots have that going for them in the fact that they can kind of build themselves up saying we're playing well on both sides of the ball. Are we playing elite on both sides of the ball? I wouldn't say so, but we're playing well right now. So that's something that, you know, going forward to the end of the season, you can build on. That's a better place than saying, you know, we got one side of the ball that's struggling. Like even the Eagles, we got one side of the ball that's struggling. Doesn't matter how many horses we have, we can't get it going. Our defense is lights out. So somebody's got to. What are we going to do? Whereas the Patriots are like, we feel confident on both sides of the ball. Let's go play. And if you had to go into Foxborough, it's not. It's been proven. It's not a great place to go play late in the season. Weather and everything else, the crowd, it is an atmosphere. So they've got a lot of things on their side right now. I just think, you know, a bit of a Cinderella run.
They're in the I might have been last year, maybe it was 2 years ago. We had Jacksonville getting the number 1 seed, and for a little while they had the number 1 seed until the wheels fell off. New England and Denver right now, I think both of those teams need the number 1 seed to make noise in the playoffs.
I think if either one of those teams have the number 1 seed and you have to go into those places, that's kind of like going into Arrowhead. I think people kind of forgot a little bit over the last couple of years because everybody's so focused on Arrowhead and Kansas City and how hard it is to play there. There's a couple other places around the league that you don't want to be December, January. So, yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure. Now, Pinky, kind of staying in that AFC area, but bridging the gap between both leagues into this holiday weekend, is there a more intriguing game and matchup than the game you probably have to accept as such, and you yourself will be excited to view, and you'll hate yourself for it, in Kansas City and Dallas?
And you know how I feel about the Thanksgiving games.
I know.
You know how I feel. I hate that they stay in Detroit and Dallas. I hate it. I truly hate it.
I know. So there's multiple things here. You don't want to talk good about Dallas. You don't want to talk good about Kansas City. You don't want to talk good about them getting to have the Thanksgiving game every year. Like, there's a lot of things here that are not on your like list. Right. And I bet this is still arguably the best game of the weekend to watch for many reasons.
I am excited for Thursday. Not only is it Thanksgiving, good food, great time with family, and the football matchups are intriguing. And we're just going to eat it up. I love it. Packers-Lions. That's awesome. Division rivalry, 7-3-1 versus 7-4. That's a big game. Chiefs and Cowboys. Chiefs are 6-5 now. To keep that wild card hope alive, possibly division still. That's still mathematically a possibility. They have to win that game in Dallas. They have to. On the opposite side, Dallas beat Philly. Now they've got some life. I think I don't know what Dallas is. Dallas is
4-5-1, right?
5-5-1.
5-5-1.
5-5-1. So now Dallas is there's some light. There's some light there. Can Dak, and that's what's intriguing to me. Can Dallas's offense put up 30 points against the KC defense? It's going to have to. KC's offense has been kind of off all year. But the one thing I know you can do against the Chiefs is get the ball, or the Cowboys is get the ball downfield. They allow deep passes. The Chiefs haven't been great at connecting on those this year, but this defense has been really bad at giving up those deep balls. So I am very intrigued, and again, as a Broncos fan, I will be rooting for Dallas. Give me the Dallas jersey. I will put that on. I will rock it. I will be cheering for the Cowboys at the end of the day because I want the Broncos to win the AFC West. I would love the Chiefs to miss the playoffs because I think that just makes it intriguing because then now everybody – Chiefs make the playoffs, they're going to make it to the divisional / AFC championship game. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And nobody hates the Chiefs more than me. But I got to be real, right?
We try to.
I love that. Our talk video about the Chiefs, that they were still probably going to make the playoffs. People were like, Chiefs, glazing on the Chiefs. And I was like, I hate the Chiefs. I'm just looking at their schedule going, oh, they can beat pretty much every one of those teams on their schedule.
It's fun seeing some comments to some of our stuff sometimes. It's like if you did even a little bit of research on what we're about, you would see we don't hide our fandom. We try to be objective, but we don't hide it. And we know it creates bias, but we don't hide from those. You would have very quickly not ever used the word glazing the Chiefs when it comes to us talking about the Chiefs.
I spit facts. And I will say, I talked with Andy about the game. Best thing the Chiefs did was they ran the damn ball.
Yeah, what did Hunt have? Like 30 carries? It was something ridiculous. 30 touches?
Like 20 something carries at least, and he was over 100 yards.
Yeah.
And guess what happened? They won the game.
Yeah, good things.
But at the end of the day, they played to win. The Colts played not to lose.
That hurts them.
That was a mistake.
That hurts them.
I think that's what – when I started thinking about the Chiefs this season and the games that they've lost, most of the teams that have played the Chiefs this year have not played scared and not played not to lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to play aggressive. You have to take it to the Chiefs. You can't sit there and be like, we're up 7. Let's not make any mistakes. You got to keep going. You cannot play scared.
Agreed. So. I think I'll end on the NFL here, and you give me your take. I think anybody calling Daniel Jones and Indy fool's gold, they've come back down to earth, this is who they are. I would actually argue everything that's happening to them right now is really good for them. These are learning moments within great opportunities to develop. Find your true weaknesses and either do things to where you eliminate those as being possible or you develop them enough to where they're no longer an issue. I think that defense is playing well. They have an insanely good run game. They have weapons. I don't think Daniel Jones is as bad as maybe people want to say he is. He's had a couple bad games here in the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of quarterbacks who have bad games throughout the season. He's had still a good season. So I think people counting the Colts out right now, I think would be a foolish mistake at this point.
So let's just say this. Their last 3 games have not been a great vote of confidence. Waxed by the Steelers. Overtime win against the Falcons. They should have waxed the Falcons. Overtime loss to the Chiefs. A game in which they had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Here's where it gets interesting. They play the Texans, arguably the best defense in the league. They play the Jaguars. They play the Seahawks. They play the 49ers. They play the Jaguars again. They finish with the Texans.
I'll say this. They make the playoffs with that stretch of schedule to end the season. They should be someone that people consider very formidable in the playoffs.
I'm I'm not scared of the Colts myself, and I do think they're going to make the playoffs because they're 8-3. They basically have to win 3 of those 6. I think they can split with the Texans. I think they can split with the Jags. They've got to pull out one of those remaining games against the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the I guess it's if they split, they just need one more of those games. They're going to have to win the 49ers game or the Seahawks game to get that third one. I think they could beat the Jags both times, to be honest. But the Jags are weird.
Here's to me what's scary about Indy. I think arguably that's the best run game in the league. And if you have a solid defense and a punishing run game, you can do a lot of damage in the playoffs. Now, there's still the weaknesses, as we've talked about. There's still the flaws. You have to be able to overcome those, or the other team's going to take advantage of it. But if I'm arguing for Indy, I would argue that that run game is a legit weapon and should be feared.
Yeah, I think the Colts are a beatable team in the playoffs myself, but to me, if the Colts are coming, I'm cool with it. I'm more worried about, like, to me, at least for the Broncos. The Broncos lost by a last-second field goal, and they put up 28 points on that defense, and their offense isn't that great. So there's things that can be done. I'm very interested in what the Colts will do in these last 6 games, but I think they're making the playoffs. I do think they're making the playoffs. I think the Jags will lose a couple. I think the Texans will lose a couple, and the Colts will end up winning that division. College football. It's time.
Dude.
It's time. Tell the people.
Dude. Like, let's just start. Let's put the CFP on pause for just a moment. Just a quick second, because that's chaos in and of itself. Can somebody please explain to me how the adults in the room that run the sport are so incredibly incompetent that you have coaches on the verge of leaving their teams, and these teams are going to be in the college football playoffs? But these same adults and coaches are complaining about players leaving teams that are going to be in the college football playoffs because of rules that these adults created. I don't like calling people stupid. I don't like calling you dumb. I don't like questioning intelligence levels.
I do.
But, hey, I'll make an exception for this. This is a subject where I will definitely question intelligence levels. Because as I've stated 1,000 different times over the course of us having this so-called platform, I've laid out a list of really simple ways to correct all these things. And they can be implemented immediately. And yet the powers that be still keep arguing about how it's so difficult to do the right thing and make the game better. Hey, real quick, going back to the NFL, you're not out of this either. It is ridiculous that you don't make coaching hires have to wait until after the season's over, just like free agency. So NFL, don't think you're safe from this conversation either, but we'll focus it on college for now. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that you put rules in place that almost force the hands of these things to happen. It makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. So you've got Franklin being hired in the middle of the season still to coach a team for next year while the intern finishes the season, but Franklin's looking over his shoulder. Walking around the building.
Who did he get hired by?
Virginia Tech, which is a great hire for Virginia Tech. That should bring them back to a little bit of prominence, I think.
That's a great hire.
Ole Miss. And this isn't just on Ole Miss. But Lane Kiffin, what are we doing? Now, I'll tell you what I think is happening, and I don't hate it. I think he's playing coy, kind of like Matt Rule did with Nebraska and Penn State. Let the fervor go so you can collect them dollars as much as possible. Make people promise those dollars to your program. Ole Miss, it might be in the SEC, but as far as facilities and things of that nature go, they are not in the upper echelon. From what I've heard, they're not even close. And yes, I kind of know a little bit about this because Nebraska's facilities are arguably the best in the country right now because they just spent $1 bazillion to upgrade them. And they had the best people doing the upgrades. So when it comes to what facilities and treatments are available for players, I've read up on it a little bit. Alabama's up there for a reason, right? Ohio State's up there for a reason. You go look at what those schools have to offer. You go look at Nebraska's facilities. Then you go look at what Ole Miss has, and you're like, okay. So are they in the background saying, hey, we're going to put the money into all of this stuff to upgrade it over the years? You stay here, and we will have everything, including the backing of the money you need to be a national contender every year. If they aren't doing that in the background and they're just trying to make it about dollars and cents with his contract, then I think he'll leave. But right now, I think he's playing coy. I think he's getting those guarantees, if you will, from the boosters in the school, and then he'll end up staying. I do think he'll end up staying. But, dude, there's been some chaotic years for coaching circles in college before. This year's been ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The buyouts that have happened, with the jobs that are open, with the jobs that something may still come open, depending on how the season's finished. Like, it's wild.
At the end of the day, until the season is over, nothing should happen. Period. So, yeah, I hate all of that. All of it. And players shouldn't be able to transfer or do any of that till the season is over. Over, done. When your team is done, not going to a bowl game, not in the playoffs, whatever it is, when they are done, you are now eligible to transfer.
Yeah. So there's that. And then you've got, the guys that are going to leave their programs to go take a better job. I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name right now, but the North Texas head coach is definitely going to – it sounds like actually, if I remember correctly, it sounds like he accepted the job at Oklahoma State. Which if he does well there, he'll be gone in a couple years somewhere else, probably even bigger.
Right. But that's a good stepping
nice little jump
school.
For sure. So then you get the small schools to lose the really good coaches because they want to up, and there's nothing a small school can do because you're not going to have the backing. There's never going to be the opportunity to build on that level. So, and that's natural progression though, right? Like that's how it should be. But again, you shouldn't be leaving that program until your season is over. But that dude just accepted the Oklahoma State job. But from what I read, the caveat is he gets to finish the season at North Texas. So if they do make the CFP, he gets to coach them all the way through. That seems more rare, though. Usually people want you to abandon ship and come over right away. So I don't know. Moving into the CFP, though, Pinky, the biggest topic, I think, and it seems to be a topic every year because this usually comes up in some way or form, shape, is head-to-head. And it is amazing how much the committee year in and year out talks about head-to-head being something that they consider heavily. And then we see right now a 2-loss Notre Dame team and a 2-loss Miami team. And head-to-head, we have an example on the field, and Miami beat them. That is Notre Dame. And yet somehow Notre Dame is ranked ahead of Miami in the standings. Make it make sense. Because that's what everybody's asking right now. Make it make sense to us. Please, go ahead. Tell me how that works.
And Notre Dame doesn't play anybody to finish the season, so Miami's probably screwed. And again, that's their fault. They lost games they shouldn't have lost.
Now, to me, the second biggest storyline, and I think this might shock some people, the second biggest storyline to me is, as of right now, I don't see how two Big 12 teams don't make the college football playoffs. And that's Texas Tech and BYU. Because I do believe those two teams will be playing each other in the Big 12 championship. Now, Utah could sneak their name in there. And if Utah wins the Big 12, then I think you could still get two teams with whoever they beat in the Big 12 championship getting in, which would probably be Texas Tech. But right now, I think Texas Tech and BYU meet in the Big 12 championship. And I think even if BYU loses to Texas Tech again, that's 2 losses to the number 5 team in the country. And the first one wasn't a blowout loss. So if the second one's not a blowout loss, I don't know how BYU would get punished to the point where they get bounced. So I think that's a unique situation where the idea that everybody says this conference is weak, they're not good, blah, blah, blah. If you're going to put the champion in, based on what I've seen from that conference and the team that loses, you're probably going to have 2 win. Which means the SEC is definitely not getting 6.
Right.
They may get 5, depending on how the season ends, because you've got A&M, UGA, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and Alabama in the top 10. But there's still some situations where they got to play each other. They might get 4, probably 5. We'll see where that goes. So that's 7 spots. You got another 3, I would say, guaranteed from the Big 12. The Big 10 in Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. I think they're locks. So now we're at 10 teams. Where do the other 2 come into play?
According
you got
to
the G5
this,
that's going to come in, which right now the highest ranked G5 team is Tulane at number 24. So then there's only one more spot.
I mean, as it sits today.
And that's going to be Notre Dame right now, as it looks. Which means Miami would be left out.
Well, according to this, which is, I don't even know what publication this is. It's got Georgia, Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M with the byes.
Yep.
It's got Tulane and Texas Tech, Notre Dame and Oklahoma, Miami and Oregon, and Alabama and Ole Miss. As it sits today.
I mean, that's just taking the top 12, though, as it sits today, and just matching them up based on where they're ranked in the top 12. I'm saying projected out. I think right now.
I mean, that's
if I had to project it out right now, I would say Miami is the odd man out.
I don't know. They don't play anybody. I mean, again, that doesn't mean
right.
anything.
But what you just read off, Pinky, didn't include the group of 5. So you have to bounce somebody to include the highest ranked group of 5 team.
That did. Tulane.
Oh, you did say Tulane? Okay, my bad.
Yeah, it's got Tulane at 12.
Oh, that doesn't have BYU in there, right?
Does not have
It's got Miami in instead of BYU, which I would argue BYU should be in over Miami. Now, what Miami has going for it, though, I might have to rethink this a little bit. I might have to bounce an SEC team. Because Miami's probably going to be the ACC champion. So they'll be guaranteed a spot. So I can't bounce Miami. That wouldn't make any sense. So then it becomes, who's the 2-loss SEC team that doesn't make the championship? Oklahoma? A&M, Alabama. Alabama may not make the championship game. Yeah, so actually it's probably going to be whatever 2-loss SEC team doesn't make the championship game is who I would bounce and put. Look, I'm sorry. If you're a 2-loss BYU team and both of those losses are to the number 5 team in the country, I'm going to drop you in over a 2-loss SEC team. Regardless of your strength of schedule, ranking's got to matter somewhere. SEC, you don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to say our strength of schedule is so good because of all the ranked teams and then completely ignore the fact that a team had really close games against the number 5 ranked team and lost. So, yeah. This next weekend's going to be crazy. Oh, it's going to be crazy. You got the game. Michigan's going for 5 in a row. That could have implications. Michigan wins that. They might find their way into the playoffs somehow. They're sitting 15 or 16. They're on the outside looking in. 15th. But if they win, that could get interesting. Alabama and Auburn could ruin Alabama's playoff chances altogether. Auburn goes out there and wins the Iron Bowl. Alabama's probably out. Man, there's a lot. Georgia's got to beat Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is no slouch. There's a lot. There's a lot riding on this last weekend of the season. And honestly, if you want to take it a step further, I still think the Heisman is wide open. Somebody goes out on rivalry week, last week of the season, and they go hang a huge game in a Heisman moment, they could win the Heisman Trophy on this weekend right here. So, oh, man.
Yeah, nobody's run away with the Heisman.
The amount of scenarios and possibilities and the chaos that can ensue. We know how I love chaos, right? So, I'm very excited for this weekend. And it kicks off Friday. There's a bunch of games going down Friday.
Friday is a good day for college football.
So I am very excited. Look, you get pro games Thursday all day. You get college and pro on Friday. You get college on Saturday. You get pro on Sunday and Monday. And there's a lot of things that are going to be decided in college this weekend. I mean, obviously, for sure. This is last weekend. Things are going to be locked down. There's going to be an SEC team that gets left out. I think you're looking at 4 SEC teams now. I'm going to be solid in that, Pinky. I think you're going to get 2 Big 12 teams and 4 SEC teams, I think is where it ends up. Miami, obviously, they're the ACC champ. You get 3 Big 10 teams. You get the group of 5 at Notre Dame. And it's going to be a fun playoff. I'm so happy we have a college
playoffs are great
now.
The playoffs are great.
And then, you know what? Honestly, a name I want people to kind of keep a little bit of an eye on this weekend that could potentially very quietly step into potentially the Heisman. And that's the quarterback down there at Ole Miss. I've mentioned his name a couple times. He won the equivalent of the Heisman last year in Division II and moved up. Wasn't even the starter to start the season. But if they go out there and win this weekend, and he puts them into the CFP, and he has a huge game, like again, a Heisman moment type thing, don't be surprised if that's a name that gets a big boost in votes after something like that. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying that's a name that I will be watching this weekend for sure. Not to mention all the other things that go with Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, and everything else. But then you got the Texas A&M quarterback. Sayan goes out and just hangs a dog walk on Michigan. He could jump into the front. Like, it's just, I'm loving it. Notre Dame plays USC this weekend, do they not? If I'm remembering correctly. Jeremiah Love goes and hangs some numbers on Notre Dame, maybe. I mean, on USC, maybe. Guys, there's so many storylines. In Pinky's defense, he's not as big on the college game as I am, so we can't go as in-depth. He's starting to come along, though. There's been some changes in college football that have allowed him to be a little bit more interested than he has in the past. But seriously, the storylines in college right now, we could spend another half hour just on those.
It's Notre Dame and Stanford.
Stanford. Okay, they already played USC.
Yeah, nobody cares about Stanford.
So, yeah, I am going to be glued to a lot of different scenarios, waiting to see what happens. And so I'll call it. I'll say 4 SEC teams. I'm having a hard time deciding who gets the odd man out. But I'll say 4 SEC, 2 Big 12, that's 6. You get 3 from the Big 10, that's 9. Miami, Notre Dame, and the G5, that's 12. So, yep, there you go.
All right, buddy. Tell us what is happening in the NBA. What is going down?
So, I've tried to not talk about this topic as much as I want to because I know it will consistently come off as homer. But Jokic is playing on another level right now this year. And if you don't have him as the MVP frontrunner, the only reason you wouldn't is hate. Because even homers have to be willing to acquiesce to the fact that Jokic is the best player in the game right now and the MVP. And that's no knock to SGA or Giannis or Luka, who's hanging 39-9. Okay? And the Lakers are in the 3 seed in the West. Jokic is leading the league in rebounds, assists. Oh, where did I have this? I may not be able to find it. Let me look real quick. I should have had this ready to go, so I apologize. I don't have it right now. Let me see if I can pull it up. Basically, he's number 1 in 4 or 5 categories in the league right now, or something stupid like that. He's 4th in points at 30 a game, averaging a triple-double. And this is what I think people need to pay attention to. And if this doesn't blow your mind, and this doesn't automatically change whatever position you had where Jokic wasn't the MVP, then we need to have a real conversation face-to-face, because I hope you just need a little bit of education on what the game is. He has a true shooting percentage of 72%. This man is hanging 30 points and playing at an efficiency level that is unheard of. Unheard of. It's basically give him the ball and expect the ball to go in the basket.
Right.
It blows my mind. And we talked about this last year, and I continue to talk about this, and I've been talking about this for years. And we say this, it's not just Jokic that we talk about this with. Appreciate the greatness while it's here, because it's not going to be here forever. But the hate at which Jokic has gotten is equivalent to the hate LeBron James gets. And people don't like hearing that, and they don't want you to even mention the same things in the same breath. But it is. And it all goes back to this crazy narrative that he doesn't play defense and he doesn't protect the rim. Who gives a shit? Blocked shots are not an end-all be-all to defense. It was a nice stat for centers to have back in the day where the game was played inside the paint. It's not played inside the paint anymore. Blocked shots do not have the same swing of momentum that they used to for many reasons. One of which has always been true. A block shot does not automatically mean no points for the team. It just means they have to take one more shot to get them. Whereas a steal, which Jokic is one of the best in the league at, a steal is a guaranteed change of possession. It is a guaranteed stop in scoring points.
Right.
So if you think blocks mean more than steals, you need to adjust your thought process. And the only reason you think that is because it's a center doing it. And
Right.
Centers are big and tall, so they have to get block shots. No, they don't. What they have to do is affect the game in a real sense. Jokic affects the game in a real sense on the defensive side of the ball. This idea that he's weak is just a false narrative that has not been such since he started winning MVPs, honestly. But to give you some stats here, the league leader in points is Luka Doncic at 34.5. Maxey has 33. SGA has 32. Antetokounmpo has 31. Donovan Mitchell is averaging 30, and Jokic is averaging 30. Okay? So, scoring seemed to be the argument last year for SGA. But over the last 3 seasons, Jokic has shown that, hey, if I want to score, I can. I can just do a lot more to help my team than just score. Oh, by the way, he's scoring 30 points on that 72% true shooting percentage. Nobody else is even close to that. So basically, if he shoots, the ball is going to go in. You're not worried about missed shots. Assists. This man is averaging 11 assists a game. Almost 2 assists more per game than the next closest man in the league, which is a point guard in Cade Cunningham. 11 assists per game, Pinky, equates to, at a minimum, an additional 22 points per game for your team.
Right.
On top of you averaging 30. Hey, guess what? The Nuggets are averaging, as a team, right around 114 points a game. So you're telling me that man, by himself, contributes to roughly 50% of your team's scoring on a nightly basis. Ridiculous. Oh, wait. Oh, I forgot. By the way, he's averaging 13 rebounds a game. So he's not really allowing the other team second chances to score on the defensive side of the ball. To go along with the assists he averages, which, it's roughly basically 2 a game. Ridiculous. So, where is this idea that he's overrated or he's stat padding? Stat padding only works if your team's losing and you're putting up stats.
Michael Porter Jr. is stat padding.
People want to compare this to Russell Westbrook and say, well, Jokic doesn't get shit on like Russ did. Yeah, because Jokic's team is winning.
Right.
I think Russ is an insanely talented player. I've had nothing but good things to say about him and the way he plays the game. Is that who I would want as my point guard on my team? No. Because Russ's style of basketball has proven there is a history, a track record of it not leading to winning basketball. I'm not trying to knock the man. I'm not trying to say he's less talented. But the way he goes about playing the game and getting his stats has statistically proven to not equate to wins on a championship level. Jokic has statistically proven that when he does the same thing, it equates to his team being a much better team. To the point where he won a championship. So no, it's not stat padding. This is a man getting these stats within the flow of the game because he is so extremely talented. If you didn't have him in your top 20 all time already, why? And if you're unwilling to start having a conversation with him legitimately being in the top 10, why? I don't want to hear that this is a centerless era. He's doing things that no other player, let alone center, has done in the history of the game. So stop comparing him to one position and start treating him like an all-time great and comparing him to any position and what he's doing with the basketball when he's on the court.
And let's talk about something. I mean, we talk about the Nuggets a lot, obviously, because we're Nuggets fans. Jokic's amazing. What he does, like that pass he made last night,
dude,
against Grizzlies.
He's got so many of that in his career that legitimately he has to be in the conversation for top 3 greatest passer of all time in the league.
Yes.
This is what I'm talking about, though. You want to keep talking about him as a center. And, oh, he doesn't block shots. Oh, he doesn't score. He's not dominant. Okay. I think that is the most foolish way you could go about the conversation.
So, obviously, we could talk about OKC because they're rolling. 17-1.
Without Jalen Williams, who we know how I feel about Jalen Williams.
Right. But we've got to give the Pistons some love.
That was the next conversation, Pinky. So thank you for bringing that up. 13 in a row as of last night. The last time they did that, hey, just hear me out. Last time the Pistons had a 13-game winning streak in a season, it's happened twice. First time, it was Isaiah and Rodman, and then Bad Boys. What happened? They won a championship. The second time it happened, Billups and Wallace and those boys. What happened? They won a championship. Now, I know, pump the brakes. I'm good with that. We can pump them a little bit. But I talked last year how I like what Kay Cunningham was and some of the pieces they had. They're taking another step forward this year. And this isn't just a team that's got a 13-game winning streak, young and playing well. They're the second best defense in the league right now behind OKC.
I mean, right now, based on the Eastern Conference, man, they're in good position. They are in very good position. So
I don't know why you wouldn't have them, in all honesty, as the front runners in the East right now.
Easily. They're easily the front runners in the East. Everybody else in the East has got big issues. Big issues.
And Kay Cunningham and Duran, man, they are a fun duo to watch. So, 13-game win streak. They got the guard and the big rolling. Pay attention to Motor City.
Yeah, buddy.
Detroit basketball.
So, good stuff, man. Good stuff. What else you got on basketball? We got a couple minutes left to do some F1. So, anything else on basketball?
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot, as always. But it's early in the season. I have always kind of made a promise to you that I won't get hot and heavy into basketball until after Christmas. And I can respect that for a lot of reasons.
That's fair.
But I will say next week we are going to have a little bit of a conversation in regards to the NBA Cup. I do like the in-season tournament. I like what it can bring, and we've talked about that last year when it started. But we'll give a little update on that next week and kind of discuss a general sense of the overall NBA landscape instead of more player focused like we did tonight and me ranting a little bit. Apologies.
I mean, whatever. All right. Well, F1 races happen this weekend in Vegas.
Dude.
I love that track.
Yeah.
When they're going by and you see the Sphere, and then they go by and you see the Bellagio, and it's just a great track.
They need to work on camera angles. And I get why it is the way it is because they're racing downtown Vegas, and you don't get to just set up a wide angle lens from 1,000 yards out and zip around the track and see everything. But they got to set up some better camera angles because basically what you get right now is like cars coming at you. Goodbye. Let's cut to the next car on the next turn. Oh, goodbye. You don't really get to see like racing per se. Or you get this straightaway and then you just see a car come around the corner. The camera angles could be a little better in Vegas.
I'm going to put it out there as a novice F1 watcher. The way that everything's set up right now, it is nothing really changes. It just doesn't. Like the change in the race on Saturday was literally Max Verstappen overtook Lando on the first lap. And then that's all she wrote.
On the first turn.
Right. And that was literally the intrigue of the race from there on out.
You're not wrong. And we've talked about this a number of times where it seems like F1 has turned into a race for the first turn, and that's it. There is a lot more nuance to it. Obviously, your practices and your qualifying mean a lot, and that's where a lot of things come into play. Strategies are very heavy. So if you watch racing to see action in the sense of passing and overtakes and things of that nature, modern F1 is not for you. It just isn't. And that's something I've had to really learn. And I do love the sport now, but it is so much different than NASCAR. And I consider myself a NASCAR fan, and I am still very much new to the sport and learning a lot. And I basically took this entire year off from NASCAR to focus on F1. And they could not be more different.
You have to pick a driver in F1 and root for that driver and watch what that driver is doing, because nothing else is really happening. It's just not.
Yeah, team. I could see people being much more team-oriented than driver-oriented in NASCAR. I mean, in F1, because then you're worried about more that team point standing in the Constructors' Cup. And then if your drivers are fighting for the Drivers' Championship at the end of the season, that's like the cherry on top, the added bonus. Whereas like a NASCAR, you're definitely picking a driver, and that's who you're rooting for, very much so. I think that is a bit of a knock, a check mark against F1 is the lack of true race day action. The action is more, for lack of a better way of saying it, it's almost manifested, created by the broadcast rather than the actual racing itself a lot of times. And I have heard it explained this way, and I think this can help newer fans. If you're really just watching it for the drivers and not the teams, you're looking at 3 tiers. There's almost like Major League Baseball, AAA, and AA kind of thing, or AAA and rookie ball, where it's like you got the top third of the grid that are actually battling for a win. You've got the middle part of the grid that are then kind of all racing each other. And then you've got the bottom of the grid that's kind of all racing each other. And within those 3 pockets, there are overtakes and passes that might happen sporadically. But on the whole, there's not a lot of movement within the grid when you look at it that way. So it isn't a unique sport. It's a niche sport. I'm glad we jumped into it this year. I really do enjoy all the intricacies about it, and I've learned to come to love it. Just like, I mean, if we're being honest, all sports that I take any interest in, I come to love. So I've said for a long time, rugby's on my list. Maybe next year that'll be the one I pick up, or maybe I just try to get even deeper into these ones. I don't know. But with this race, I saw something today, Pinky, where there is a scenario in which we could end up in Abu Dhabi at the end of the season, where Piastri, Norris, and Verstappen are all tied at the top of the leaderboard in points going into that last race. There's a scenario where McLaren completely fumbles this thing, and I don't know enough F1 history, but I would venture a guess that it would go down as one of the biggest, if not the biggest, flop in F1 history as far as the potential for drivers to win a championship and then get beat out. It would go down as arguably one of, if not the best comeback and season a driver's ever had if Max Verstappen wins. There's a lot on the line in these next 2 weeks. And I think something really interesting, Peaky, goes back to the Brazil race, where F1 finally came out and said, like, you know, there's some teams that were using a substance or a metal as a divider, if you will, to expand during the race that would cause the plank to not see the same wear as it otherwise would. And after the Brazil race, the FIA came out and basically told all those teams using it, knock it off, don't use it anymore. And then the next week, we see McLaren get hit with a penalty for their plank having 0.12 millimeters too much wear on it, which is
Crazy.
the thickness of a
Crazy.
human hair. The thickness of a human hair they got DQ'd for. But for anybody saying that's crazy, anyone as an F1 fan will tell you those millimeters matter very much so when you're talking the aerodynamics of this car and what their capabilities become. So it's not unjust to be penalized for it. But it does make me wonder, Pinky, now, and I've seen this idea floating around by those that I would say probably know the sport better than I do, so I'm glad I saw that because it's not just me thinking it. Was McLaren doing something that allowed them to bend the rules enough to put them in position to be as fast as they were, and now that that has been taken away from them, their cars are not going to be what everybody might have thought they were, and we are going to watch Max Verstappen win the sprint race, then the real race, then the final race, and go on to win the championship. All because McLaren basically was told, hey, you're not able to use that rule bend anymore. Like, that's crazy to think about, to the point where it would make me wonder how many other teams were using the same rule bend, and did it give McLaren a true advantage for the Constructors' Cup as well? Like,
Maybe.
lot of what ifs all of a sudden that that blow my mind. So for Lewis Hamilton, the nightmare is almost over, and as he said, he cannot wait for the season to end, and he's so distraught right now, he's not even looking forward to next season at this point. Mercedes would still like to finish strong. They've got a lot going for them with both drivers signed up and coming back next year with a strong showing. Can they hold on and finish second in the Constructors' Cup point standings? I started the season not being a Max Verstappen fan through no fault of his own, but because of how dirty Lewis Hamilton was done to lose that championship back a couple years ago and give it to Verstappen. The more I became an F1 fan, the more I learned about the sport, the more I followed it and educated myself, the more I liked Max, because it seems like he's a genuinely good dude who just cares about helping people around him and is ultra competitive. And that might bite him in the butt sometimes. It might make him come off as cold and callous sometimes and things of that nature. But I can respect that competitive nature, that hating to lose more than you love to win almost kind of sentiment. So I am a Max fan now, which is a 180 from where the season started. But I like Lando. I got no beef with Lando either. I wouldn't mind seeing him win. I'm not a Piastri fan. And maybe the picture that's been painted of him this year is wrong. And maybe it's not the best way to go about judging him. But I can only judge him based on what I know and see from the start of this season of me truly following the sport. He comes off as whiny and entitled. I'm not a Piastri fan, so I've got no issues with him blowing his lead and losing the championship. I don't like to see anybody get done dirty, and I don't think Piastri's been done dirty. So I've got no qualms with him kind of basically just crumbling under the pressure is what it looks like. So it really does seem like it's kind of Lando or Max as far as what I'm rooting for. And either way, I won't be disappointed if that's how it comes out at the end.
Yeah, buddy. Finish us up. What are we saying?
Final thoughts. As much as Robert really hates it and Pinky doesn't see how it would work, boy, that rumor mill of the Snyderverse coming back sure seems to be picking up steam on a daily basis. Pretty wild situation that if it really happened, the way the rumors are spreading, James Gunn being just out and Zack Snyder being back in would be, I don't know if we've seen a wilder turn of events within the Hollywood industry on that level. And it would be coming from a situation where the people then funding the projects have so much money to burn, they don't care if it loses money. And for anybody wondering what that comment means, go check out Live Golf and read up about Live Golf for just a little bit, and you will understand why I think the Snyderverse truly is in play right now. Because this is coming from an entity that does not mind burning money. Literally. Because they have so much they can't get rid of it. To you, good sir. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I am excited tomorrow to check out the first 4 episodes of season 5 of Stranger Things. I am ready.
From what I've heard, there's a lot of sentiment. It sounds like too little, too late from the fan base. They're all going to
watch
it in.
They're all going to watch it.
Yeah, they're all going to watch it. But I'm never even seen an episode. I couldn't even really tell you the actors. That's how disconnected I am from that thing. But I have heard some rumblings here, it seems like, that people are unhappy that they've had to wait this long. And
where you're talking like 10 years for 5 seasons.
Oh, is that what it is? That's today's modern age. That doesn't seem that bad.
I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean,
it's not good. It's not good.
1. When did it come out?
What is it like?
It's 9 years.
Okay.
For 5 seasons.
What do they do? Like 8 episodes a season?
Season 1 had 8 episodes.
Yeah, I hate that.
Season 2 had 9. Season 3 had 8.
Remember when you used to get quality network shows that were 30, 40 episodes a season?
I'm going to say this, though. Stranger Things is I didn't really care for season 2, but seasons 3 and 4 were awesome. Season 1 was amazing. I'm excited for the finale. I'm gonna be glad to see it wrapped up. And I understand that there's possibility of additional pieces to the universe that they might do. But I'm excited to see this culminate because again, it's really good stuff. I would recommend watching it. It's good stuff.
On that note, I hope you got something out of the show this evening. Robert, I hope you had a great evening with the fam. Well-deserved evening. To anyone that supports us in any fashion, please share. Get other people, follow, ask us questions, give us topics. What do you want to hear? Nonsense, sports, anything in between. We don't care. We like conversing. We like having a little conversation. Surprisingly, the bear didn't get poked at all this evening. Andy, sorry, buddy. Better things next week. You have those moments with your family and friends, your inner circle, your loved ones. Cherish them. Do not take them for granted. Jump on them at every opportunity you can. It's Turkey Week, baby. Thursday's a wonderful day. Take advantage of those moments. We appreciate you all. Till next week, we're out.
Pinky in the building, reppin' orange and blue. Broncos country, yeah, you know how we do. High take so wild, you remember the name. From college ball to the pros, Caleb spitting game. Robert here, the pop culture plug. From comics to racing, pour the drink in the mug. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, yeah, bold talk. Good laughs and a glass in the air. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, right? Kick back, tune in, take a wild side.